Smartphones, like most things smart, are typically synonymous with not private. These devices are built to track us, and normally the operating system is what helps enable this to happen. But that would be a harsh overgeneralization. We've talked about GrapheneOS in a separate video. Graphene is one of the most secure and private mobile operating systems to date, which offers a valid open source competitor to iOS without the security drawbacks of ROMs like Lineage OS. However, Graphene is far from usable for the overwhelming majority because of its lack of Google Play services, which causes certain apps to not function properly. So, people, I present to you CalyxOS from the Calyx Institute. The Calyx Institute was created by Nicholas Merrill, an individual who was served a gag order from the FBI when he then sued in retaliation to try and repeal the infamous Patriot Act. This dude is just a total badass. Calyx conducts privacy and security research, they host Tor nodes, a VPN, other forms of advocacy, and they have a membership that grants you a truly unlimited LTE hotspot for dirt cheap, which seriously, it's life-changing. I'll cover this thing in another video. Subscribe, people, do it. In short, Calyx is a fantastic, stable org that has continually fought for user privacy. I have become a complete fanboy. Without getting too carried away, the Calyx Institute develops a mobile operating system. CalyxOS maintains the Android security model, unlike most ROMs like Lineage, which have security concerns because of lack of verified boot. As for privacy, this ROM is entirely open source with privacy out of the box. CalyxOS is currently limited to specific pixels and the Xiaomi Mi A2. The pixels are chosen because they implement the best security while maintaining things like verified boot, with ironically the best support for de-Googling. And the A2 accomplishes this and was chosen by Calyx because it's a cheaper, affordable option, and they want privacy to be as accessible as possible. I went ahead and picked up a second brand new fake purple Pixel 3a to test out Calyx, and my first impression is it's polished. CalyxOS devs really focused on settings and functionality that would be convenient yet private by default. During setup, you have the option of using MicroG. We'll talk about that later. And it also asks you what applications you'd like pre-installed. F-Droid is a FOSS app store that can be pre-installed. Aurora is a Google Play Store alternative to get all of your normal apps without a Google account. That can be pre-installed. Signal is here, Calyx's free VPN, which will get its own video someday, as well as countless other phenomenal free and open source projects. I would actually recommend enabling everything, as you'll likely learn about and naturally test out a new FOSS project you've never heard of or used before. Calyx not only is making the experience easy for noobs, but it's also bringing fantastic projects in front of people in an easy, convenient manner. Seriously, this is what advocating for privacy is all about, and it almost feels like an ecosystem out of the box if you choose it to be one. And funny enough, I don't think that's necessarily what they were going for, but I feel the ecosystem was actually executed better than what E attempted, and E definitely tried going for an ecosystem. So take notes, E. As for usability, the ROM is buttery smooth and polished, just like stock Android. I'll talk about the Graphene versus Calyx performance soon because that's kind of a major note. Calyx has some awesome customization settings. Again, it's polished, smooth, works, and most importantly, this is the secret sauce, MicroG. GrapheneOS doesn't have official support for Google Play services or alternatives like the open source MicroG, which allow you to use apps reliant on Google Play services, but Calyx does. This is so well implemented to the point where, no shame, if you do have a Google account, you can sign into Google in your settings like a normal Android device, and it'll log you in to things like Google Maps, YouTube, and other Google products. That's more just a demonstration of the fact you have the option to use it like a normal phone. You can choose not to use MicroG at all, and it'll be a very similar experience privacy-wise to GrapheneOS. This makes Calyx, for me, someone who's recommending content to people, a much easier recommendation to make for the overwhelming majority of people not looking to make so many sacrifices for privacy and security, including basic things like the camera on GrapheneOS, which normally you have to sacrifice since it doesn't have the much improved Google camera. Now, MicroG is not foolproof, as there are still some apps that may not work, and I'd recommend checking out Plexus, our project crowdsourcing what apps do and don't work. We just made a video covering that, and this will help you see compatibility between Calyx and Graphene a little bit better. And speaking of comparing the two, GrapheneOS is more secure than Calyx. Graphene improves on the Android security model, whereas Calyx just maintains it. However, in real-world use, The odds of this extra security actually impacting most people, and if anyone, is very slim. And when we look at the issues with GrapheneOS, like its limited compatibility with applications and its noticeable speed loss, which, by the way, is very, very noticeable and does impact daily usage. Unless you need the absolute highest degree of security, Calyx is likely a better option for you, and you can use it without MicroG, making it very similar to Graphene, but with a much smoother experience. People literally buy phones sometimes because one is smoother to use. This was the whole selling point of the OnePlus 7, and I can't stress enough the difference in how these ROMs feel. Calyx is just noticeably faster and better to use day to day, hands down. As for battery, anecdotally, the battery life is surprisingly similar between the two ROMs. However, I need to do some proper testing. If you want to see that, let me know, and I may do a proper battery test in the future to compare the battery life differences between the two operating systems. I will say the Pixel 3a on Calyx with MicroG and Signal still gets me 2 to 3 days of battery, which feels similar to the 3a XL running Graphene. To recap, I used GrapheneOS as my daily driver for about 6 months, and I grew completely used to it. It's still a great experience. However, I got a new Pixel and flashed Calyx, and it's just hard to deny that it is a much better experience, which is much more fun and enjoyable to use day to day. On Graphene, I felt safe and secure using the ROM, but I did feel I was compromising to get that experience. Getting basic things to work sometimes requires an annoying workaround, and there's just a lot of compromises you likely will have to make if you use Graphene, which is fine for some people. However, on Calyx, I still feel safe and secure, but I don't feel like I'm compromising much. I feel I can use the phone like a phone. The only exception to this was a quick workaround I had to do on MicroG to get cloud messaging, and that is really it. They're a friendly community, leaders and devs were more than friendly and accepting and helped. On the contrary, GrapheneOS feels like it's a mad science project designed for the utmost security without thought to mainstream use.
Throw the third switch! Not the third switch! Throw it, I say! Throw it! Give my creation life!
Which is equally valid, but for a different demographic. Having started on the iPhone back, I don't know when, moving to Lineage, to Graphene, and now to Calyx, and actually having the spoiled option to use any of them at this point, I will be choosing Calyx as my daily driver. Not only is the ROM fantastic, but everything the Calyx Institute does is just incredible, and I'm more than happy to be a member and contributor using their tools. I love my hotspot. On that note, you should check them out as well. They have a Matrix room, which has a super friendly community. Their site ain't pretty, but don't judge a book by its cover. Their work is phenomenal, and I'd seriously look at their membership, as most people could probably use a truly unlimited LTE hotspot. We officially have a fully FOSS mobile operating system out of the box that doesn't really compromise security for the user experience. So kudos to Calyx, and keep up the fantastic work in making privacy accessible to the masses. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to let us know by giving it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, we made a full guide teaching you how to be secure and private on Android from the ground up, any experience level, regardless of what ROM or phone you're using. You don't need Graphene to be more secure and private on an Android device. If you get Calyx, we'll leave links below to phones that are supported by Calyx, and those links will help us out. So we really do appreciate that help. It does help us out a lot. I'll also leave some privacy screen protectors and the case I used as well, and it's much appreciated if you go through those links. We also have a video showing our fun selection of apps that you can try today from the F-Droid store. Don't forget to subscribe for our future content, join our privacy communities, and especially thank you to our patrons who allow us to do crazy things like buy a whole new Pixel 3a for just a phone review. So if you want to join us communities to help support us, it is very much appreciated, and we have some awesome perks waiting for you. That's all. Have a great rest of your day.